You won't believe what my sister did. She tried to turn Thanksgiving into a total dictatorship with a set of insane rules. I'm still in shock. This happened recently, and I'm still baffled. For context, I, 32F, have hosted Thanksgiving for my family every year since I moved into my house 5 years ago. It's always a little messy and chaotic, but that's part of the charm, right? This year, my sister, 29F, decided she wanted to help bring some order to the gathering. At first, I thought she just meant coordinating who would bring what dishes or helping with cleanup. Instead, she showed up at my house last week with printed copies of what she called a family code of conduct. She handed these out and insisted everyone read and sign them before attending Thanksgiving. Some highlights included a rule against overlapping conversations at the dinner table, with suggestions for taking turns like a respectful debate club. A ban on political or controversial topics, with her as the final arbiter of what was too heated. A dress code of smart casual, because holiday photos should reflect well on the family. Assigned seating that she claimed was based on optimal personality compatibility. She was completely serious. When I laughed and said, "You can't be serious," she accused me of not taking her efforts to improve family dynamics seriously. I told her I wasn't going to enforce a code of conduct at my house, and that if she wanted to micromanage Thanksgiving, she could host it herself. She doubled down, saying I was being ungrateful and stubborn. I canceled hosting, and now the family is mad at me. My mom thinks I should have just humored her for the day, while my brother, 35M, is refusing to go anywhere unless no one tries to draft a holiday constitution. I'm torn. Was I wrong for standing my ground, or should I have let her run the day to keep the peace? Update 1. So after my sister threw a fit about her code of conduct, and I told her she could host Thanksgiving if she wanted to enforce it, I thought that would be the end of it. I honestly figured she'd realize how ridiculous the whole thing was and back down, but nope. She doubled down. She texted the entire family announcing that Thanksgiving was now happening at her house this year, and that she'd made improvements to ensure it would be a stress-free holiday. Her text included some gems like, "I know hosting has been chaotic in the past, but this year will be different because of my proactive approach." She even attached a new version of her code of conduct, which she called a collaborative effort to maximize harmony. Collaborative effort? She literally created this thing on her own, and none of us even asked for it. Here's the kicker. She said anyone attending had to RSVP by signing the updated code of conduct electronically, and she even included a Google form, for Thanksgiving. She added stuff like, conversations will be capped at 3 minutes per person during dinner to ensure everyone gets a turn. So dessert will only be served after a round of family compliments. She called it a gratitude circle, where we had to each say something nice about every person in the room. Phone-free zones will be enforced in the dining area. She wrote that violations would result in the offender being invited to step away to regroup. At first, I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my coffee, but then I started getting texts from family members asking me if I was going. My mom, of course, was the first to call. She was all, "Sweetheart, your sister is just trying to bring some structure. You know how things get with Uncle Dave and your brother. It wouldn't kill you to support her this one time." I told her flat out that I wasn't going to sign some weird family contract just to eat turkey. My brother was on the same page, texting me, "If I have to compliment anyone at Thanksgiving, I'm staying home." Classic him. But then it got weirder. My mom started guilt-tripping me, saying that if I didn't go, it would fracture the family. My dad chimed in during one of our calls, saying, "Your sister is just being a bit intense. You know how she is. Maybe humor her so we can all be together." I reminded them that I was supposed to host, and none of this drama would have happened if they'd just told her to chill out. My mom hit me with, "Well, you could have been more understanding." Understanding of what? That my sister thinks Thanksgiving is the Olympics of family gatherings and she's the coach? Anyway, the texts kept coming. One of my cousins, who is usually cool, said she didn't see the big deal about the rules. She was like, "Honestly, I kind of like the idea of no political talk. Last year was a mess when your brother brought up climate change." Sure, but do we really need a literal contract to stop people from arguing? My sister, meanwhile, sent me this long, dramatic message accusing me of being childish for not supporting her vision. She said, "I've worked really hard on this because I care about our family. If you can't appreciate that, maybe you're the one causing chaos every year. Chaos? It's Thanksgiving, not a corporate retreat. But apparently, she really believes she's saving us all from ourselves. At this point, I was pretty much out, but I wanted to see how this was all going to play out. So I told her I wasn't signing her document and wouldn't be attending. She responded with, "That's your choice, but it's sad you're prioritizing your ego over the family." Okay, sure, John. My brother decided to stir the pot by texting the family group chat with a meme of a turkey holding a gavel and the caption, "Court is now in session. Who brought the pumpkin pie evidence?" My sister didn't think it was funny and sent a long reply about how he was being disrespectful. My mom texted me separately to say, "Can you talk to him? He's not helping." Like, Mom, this isn't my problem. Fast forward to Thanksgiving Day. I decided to stay home and just have a chill day with my dog. My brother said he was doing the same, but then he called me halfway through the day to tell me what was happening. He was getting live updates from one of our cousins, and it sounded like a total train wreck. Apparently, my sister actually enforced the seating chart. People showed up and she handed out name cards like it was a wedding. My cousin's husband got annoyed because he was seated at the kids' table, which, by the way, was just him and two teenagers. And when he tried to switch seats, my sister shut him down. Then came the gratitude circle. According to my cousin, it was so awkward. People were scrambling to come up with compliments, and some of them sounded backhanded, like, "I appreciate how you always share your opinions, even when it's unnecessary." My uncle straight up refused to participate, saying, "I don't need a therapy session to eat pie." The no overlapping conversations rule lasted about 5 minutes before people started talking over each other, and my sister kept trying to shush them. At one point, my dad apparently muttered, "This feels like jury duty," which made my brother laugh so hard he couldn't breathe. By the time dessert rolled around, half the family had either left or was pretending they had somewhere else to be. My mom called me later that night, sounding exhausted. She said, "Maybe your sister overdid it a little." A little? Now my sister is mad at everyone, claiming we sabotaged her plans. She even posted some passive-aggressive thing on Facebook about how traditions evolve and not everyone is ready for change. Meanwhile, my brother and I are already planning to host a Thanksgiving 2.0 No Rules edition next weekend, just for the people who want to actually have fun. I don't know what's more shocking, that my sister thought this would work or that some of the family actually went along with it. But one thing's for sure, I'm never giving up hosting again. Lesson learned. Update 2. So after the Thanksgiving disaster at my sister's house, I thought things might settle down. Nope. It's like she went full dictator mode after everyone didn't fall in line with her vision. The day after Thanksgiving, she sent out a mass email. Yeah, an email, titled, Reflections on Thanksgiving 2.0. It was basically a 2,000-word manifesto where she broke down everything that went wrong. And surprise, none of it was her fault. Some highlights. She blamed the failure of her gratitude circle on a lack of enthusiasm and sincerity from the family. She said the seating chart didn't work because certain individuals didn't embrace the spirit of intentional placement. She suggested that some people might benefit from a workshop on constructive communication before attending future family gatherings. A workshop for Thanksgiving. I swear, I can't make this stuff up. My brother texted me immediately after reading it, just writing, "She's lost it." Honestly, I couldn't argue. At this point, I was half expecting her to set up a PowerPoint presentation to debrief everyone on how they failed to meet holiday objectives. The drama didn't stop there, though. My mom called me later that day, super stressed, saying my sister was upset because some of the family had already RSVP'd to my No Rules edition Thanksgiving next weekend. My sister called it a blatant attempt to undermine her authority as the family organizer. Authority? Since when does hosting a holiday make someone a monarch? She even tried to guilt-trip my mom into boycotting my gathering, saying, "If you support her, you're encouraging divisiveness in the family." Divisiveness? Sis, the only thing dividing this family is your 10-page holiday handbook. Anyway, my mom was clearly torn, but I told her she could come if she wanted, and there wouldn't be any hard feelings if she didn't. My brother, on the other hand, wasn't as nice. He told my sister to take a nap and let people live their lives. She didn't take that well. She called him immature and accused him of being part of the problem. Now, here's where it gets really wild. Apparently, my sister decided to double down again and announced she was planning a mandatory family meeting to resolve our differences and rebuild trust. She even set a date and said attendance was non-negotiable. Like, who does she think she is? A high school principal? My brother and I immediately said we weren't going. She tried to shame us by saying we were tearing the family apart. But honestly, at this point, I think she's the one holding the scissors. Meanwhile, the RSVPs for my No Rules Edition Thanksgiving started rolling in. Even some of the family members who originally supported her code of conduct said they'd had enough. My uncle texted me, "I just want turkey and pie without a side of drama," and honestly, same. On the day of the redo Thanksgiving, we kept it super chill. No seating charts, no rules about conversation topics, and definitely no forced compliments. My brother brought board games, my cousins brought way too many desserts, and my mom showed up with a bottle of wine and an apologetic look on her face. She didn't say much about my sister, but she did mention that the family meeting had been rescheduled because not enough people could make it. Translation: no one wanted to go. The best part? My sister apparently tried to FaceTime us during dinner to check in, but my brother just laughed and muted his phone. We all agreed to ignore it and kept playing board games. By the end of the night, everyone was in a good mood, and it felt like the old Thanksgivings we used to have. Messy, loud, and a little chaotic, but fun. My mom even said, "This is what Thanksgiving should be." Now my sister isn't speaking to me, which honestly feels like a bit of a blessing. She's been posting vague stuff on Facebook about being unappreciated by those closest to you and knowing your worth. My brother said he'd give it a week before she starts texting again with some new scheme, and honestly, I believe him. So yeah, that's where we're at. Thanksgiving 2.0 was a train wreck. Thanksgiving. No Rules Edition was a success, and I'm probably going to be on my sister's blacklist for the foreseeable future. Worth it, though. Update 3. Okay, so I was hoping this whole Thanksgiving drama would eventually blow over, but nope. My sister is still on her crusade to fix our family, and honestly, it's reached new levels of insanity. Buckle up. After the success of my No Rules Edition Thanksgiving, I thought she'd cool off, maybe even realize that her approach wasn't working. Instead, she decided to double down again. A few days after our redo Thanksgiving, she sent out another email. The subject line? Moving forward as a family, a proposal. It was 5 pages long. 5 pages. I skimmed it, but even that was too much. She outlined this whole plan to create a family council that would collaboratively plan all future holiday gatherings. The kicker? She wanted to chair the council. Of course she did. She also suggested mandatory quarterly family meetings to address any grievances in a structured environment. Mandatory, quarterly, meetings. My brother texted me immediately after reading it. He just wrote, "She's gone full dictator. What do we do?" Honestly, I didn't know what to say. I was half laughing, half horrified. Here's where it gets even better, or worse, depending on how you look at it. She set a date for the first family council meeting and said attendance was strongly encouraged to ensure equitable representation of all voices. My mom called me later that night, clearly trying to mediate, saying, "Your sister just wants everyone to get along." I told her that forcing people into meetings wasn't the way to do that. She sighed and said, "I know, but you know how she gets?" Fast forward to the day of the so-called family council meeting. My brother and I decided we weren't going, and a few other family members said the same. My sister freaked out in the family group chat, accusing us of being disrespectful and unwilling to work towards harmony. My brother responded with a gif of a turkey running away, which honestly made the whole situation funnier than it should have been. Apparently, the meeting ended up being just her, my parents, and one of our cousins who lives nearby and didn't want to deal with the fallout. According to my mom, my sister spent the entire time ranting about how she felt unsupported and unappreciated. My dad apparently tried to lighten the mood by suggesting we all go on a family vacation next summer, but my sister shot it down, saying, "We can't even handle Thanksgiving. How do you expect us to survive a vacation together?" After the meeting, she sent out yet another email. This one was titled Next Steps and included a survey where we were supposed to rank our top 3 priorities for improving family dynamics. My brother responded to the email with 1. Food, 2. Fun, 3. Less emails, which earned him a phone call from my mom asking him to stop antagonizing your sister. At this point, I was ready to wash my hands of the whole thing. I figured she'd eventually give up, but nope. She's now planning what she's calling Christmas Reinvented. She sent out a whole itinerary for Christmas Day, complete with time slots for group activities like carol singing and a holiday reflection session where we're supposed to share our hopes and goals for the new year. She also mentioned something about a Secret Santa gift exchange, but with strict guidelines to ensure fairness and thoughtfulness. My brother and I decided to boycott Christmas entirely. We're planning to go on a ski trip instead, just to avoid the madness. We invited a few other family members, and most of them are in. Even my dad said he might join us, though he's trying to convince my mom to come too. My mom is torn, of course. She keeps saying, "It's Christmas. We should all be together." But honestly, being together isn't worth it if it means following a schedule and signing contracts. The best part of all this? My sister has started calling herself the family visionary. She genuinely believes she's the only one trying to fix us, and that the rest of us are too lazy or stubborn to change. My brother joked that she's going to start making us call her Madam Chairwoman next. So yeah, that's where things stand. Thanksgiving was a mess. Christmas is shaping up to be an even bigger disaster, and my sister seems determined to turn every family event into a corporate seminar. Meanwhile, I'll be on the slopes with a hot chocolate, enjoying the peace and quiet. Honestly, I love my family, but if this is the new normal, I'm out. That's the end of the saga. For now. But knowing my sister, she's probably already brainstorming Easter evolution or something equally ridiculous. Fingers crossed she chills out by then, but I'm not holding my breath.